Hey everyone, welcome to Moving Matt. We do all things cameras with a dash of vlogs and a little bit of travel. And this is Camera Wars, the show where we give you the latest camera news and let you know just how the battle is heating up. Now before I jump into today's first story, I would like to say this episode is brought to you by lowering your expectations. Have you ever watched a camera news show on a slow news week? You should lower your expectations. Next up, NAB 2021 was supposed to be coming in October, and according to Canon Rumors, with it would have came 3 new Canon cinema cameras. But since it has now been delayed to April of next year, the question becomes, what happens to the cinema cameras? First, we had the EOS C300S, an 8K Super 35 camera that is capable of 8K 60, 4K 120, will have a BSI stacked sensor that will also have a dual gain output, have dual pixel autofocus but doesn't say if it will be dual pixel 2, which hopefully it is. It will also have 16 plus stops of dynamic range, so essentially subtract 1 or 2 from that and you'll get the actual performance. And it will also have a very fast 10 millisecond readout in 8K DJI mode. This sounds like a very impressive camera, and it is so impressive that Canon is planning on making a big brother called the C500S, which essentially has all the same specs, except it will be full frame, and with the larger sensor it adds an extra stop of dynamic range, bringing it to 17 plus stops. Now if you thought that dynamic range was crazy enough, this last camera takes it to another level. The EOS C700SDR will be a full frame camera that will shoot 4K at a ridiculous 240 frames in fast mode and 4K 180 in WDR mode, which if you haven't guessed it already stands for wide dynamic range mode, because in that mode it will be capable of an insane 20 plus stops of dynamic range with a 5 millisecond readout speed. So yeah, it sounds like we are pretty close to achieving the dream, because as the extraordinary news giver points out, 20 stops of dynamic range is about the same as a human eye sees. So next time you go outside and you see a scene that you wish your camera could accurately articulate, think about how soon it maybe can. Now I do understand that these are cinema cameras and they will likely be out of most of our price ranges, but realize this usually means that in a few years these features will trickle down to us mere mortals. But what do you think about these cinema cameras? Do you think that Canon will still announce them this year or just hold off for a bit? Are you excited for this tech coming to market? Drop in the comment section below and let me know. And finally, if you thought we were done talking about dynamic range, you were mistaken. Because according to Sony Alpha Rumors, who are about as reliable as a mother remembering a 7-year-old's birthday, it's not your fault. The Sony A7 IV will have 15 plus stops of dynamic range, which if that sounds familiar, it is because it is the same as the A7S III. The A7S III is known for its low light and dynamic range, so is it possible that even with the rumored higher 33 megapixel sensor, the A7 IV could possibly match it? No. Well, if the Sony Alpha 1 is any indicator, I would say it is possible, if not likely. Yes! It has a 50 megapixel sensor that, according to the human computer Gerald Undone, outperforms the A7S III by almost 1 full stop. So we will just have to see if this is true, but I must say I really appreciate the slow but constant flow of A7 IV information, which, assuming we can count on this information, is painting a pretty impressive picture of what the A7 IV will be. So far it is rumored to have a 33 megapixel sensor, shoot 4K 30 downsampled from 7K, have 5.5 stops of IBIS plus active stabe, the same body design as the Sony A7S III, including the full-size HDMI and the hybrid dual SD and CF Express Type A cards, and if the supply chain permits, it should be announced at the end of October. One thing I would like to add is I've had many people ask me if the 4K 30 downsampled rumor means that it will not have 4K 60, and I definitely do not believe that is what Sony Alpha Rumors is saying, and if that is what they're saying, I believe they are 100% wrong. I can almost guarantee you that this camera will have 4K 60, but if I had to guess, it will probably not be downsampled from that 7K. It will most likely use some sort of pixel binning to make that happen. But that is just my guess, but what do you think about these latest rumors? Do you actually think it will have 15 plus stops of dynamic range? Do you think there is any way that Sony's going to skip out on adding 4K 60? Drop in the comment section below and let me know. Well, that is the current state of the camera wars. If you've liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And until next time, peace.